Hey there, YouTube. How's everybody doing out there today? First day after a long weekend if you're here in the States. And the good thing about a long weekend is that means that it's going to be a short week before the next weekend. So anyhow, let's just get right to it today. I want to talk about my daily priorities on a plant-based diet. And you know, some of these things, this is just kind of a basic outline of what I do. You can take these, use them however you will. Maybe you don't eat anything like me, maybe you're interested. But also too, as I lay this out, think of this more as an outline which can be personalized for different people and different nutritional needs. But yep, as always, I just try to keep it as simple as possible. Number one thing that's a priority every day that I focus on is getting adequate calories, because eating a plant-based diet, very high raw for 11 years, that's been the thing. That this is, you know, there's not a lot of calories in this food. You can eat a lot, which is a good thing because you can eat a lot and you're never have to be hungry. But also too, for some people that can probably relate to this, you know, if you want to maintain weight, you have to make sure that you're eating all the time. Now, I'm not a fanatic every day, you know, thinking about I gotta eat. Some days I'll have like kind of a day where I'm like, okay, right, and I don't eat quite enough just because my appetite or I'm out running around. But I kind of balance it out over the course of a number of days. But the next one I would say is just kind of very basic and kind of broad, is getting as much variety as possible. All throughout the day, every day, I think about like not just the choices I'm making, but even within certain categories, making a different choice just to kind of try to get as much variety in there as possible, because that is so good for our gut microbiome, and our gut microbiome is so key for our immune system and so much of our health. So I'm always thinking about that variety, and I'm also, like I say, I factor in other days, like maybe I ate this type of fruit, or maybe I ate this vegetable, or steamed this, or did whatever. So if I did this on Monday, I might come around for lunch or even for breakfast, what kind of fruits or whatever I'm going to eat. I think about, okay, well, I did this yesterday, so why don't we do something a little bit different? We'll have these different vegetables in my salad or with my food, whatever it might be. The next one would be, that sounds like, yeah, obvious after you've watched my channel for more than maybe 3 videos, but fruit. And when I say fruit, I mean fruit other than bananas, because bananas are a staple. They're good for, going back to number one, the calories. They're kind of always a filler. They're easy for me to find. I've been able to find them everywhere I've been. I keep lots of bananas around all the time. So that's kind of a given. I know I'm always going to be eating bananas. I know I'm going to always have bananas. But, you know, I like to make sure that I'm eating other fruit besides bananas in a variety every day. Some of those are whenever, and I've had, you know, it's been pretty good at my Publix, I would say, for the last year. I go through these little slumps where you don't really have, you know, as good, and then I don't buy many, but I get my mangoes. I get organic blueberries where I shop, and I buy them as much as possible. They'll have sales on them regularly, so I try to stock up then. If not, I'm using frozen blueberries from the frozen section. But just like I say, I'm like, okay, well, now the pineapples are looking kind of good. I'll get me some pineapples. Or as of right now, I'll have to do a video and share it just to share the fruit. I'm getting mamey sapotes again. So I'm always thinking like that, because, you know, there's just so many different components, and it's all about those colors, the psychedelic spectrum, getting as much of that beautiful fruit color in as possible. And the next basic beyond that would be greens. Trying to get greens in every day. I don't get the variety of greens here that I did back when I was going to the markets in Costa Rica. I had more variety. I could get arugula, I could get different types of this and that. Here it's largely kale and different lettuces for my salads. I'll eat some spinach from time to time. But you know what? But one of these days I'm going to get one of those towers so I can grow my own greens, and then I can just have a nice little variety going all the time. For greens, I guess sort of, but the next thing would actually be sprouts. But I kind of count my broccoli sprouts as sprouts and greens in there. And when you sprout the broccoli or sprout any seeds, you generally are getting more nutrition from that than you are the actual mature plant. So yeah, I'm looking over there right now, and I've got a full, like a ready to go batch of broccoli sprouts and a ready to go batch of lentil sprouts. Kind of got off track a little bit when I was sick, but now I'm back in my groove of keeping sprouts around all the time. Next one would be seeds. And I like to try to get on a regular basis as much as possible hemp seeds, flax seeds, and chia seeds. The flax seeds have a better profile for the omega-3s. That's the main reason I always like to try to eat my seeds. The chia seeds come in just a little behind the flax, but they've got a good profile as well. And then the hemp seeds do too as well, and the hemp seeds have a little bit more protein in them. So when I make my green smoothies, which I'll generally have about 5 of those 5 days a week, I always try to put, a lot of times I'll put a combination, a tablespoon of each one of those in there. And if I don't do that, I'll use different ones. The next one is, and plug your ears, raw people, because this one isn't raw, but I eat legumes every day. I eat beans, I eat peas, things like that, because, just for me, I believe in the legumes. A lot of people don't. God bless you, that's okay. If you don't, definitely sprout those lentils and have sprouted lentils. But yeah, I eat legumes and I mix that up just like everything else. About everything else, it's always about mixing it up. It's not about like picking one of these categories and just eating the same thing out of that every day. So I have black beans, chickpeas, black-eyed peas, purple hull peas, butter beans, white peas, these white navy beans, but that's one of them. And then I would say it's not really a category, but fat. And when I say fat, I pay attention to the amount of fat that I'm eating every day. I'm not fanatic. I'm not one of these uber that's afraid to eat any overt fat. Some people think like if they eat a bite of an avocado, it's just going to, I don't know what it's going to do to them. But I kind of try to keep it pretty balanced. I eat tahini, I'll eat avocados. Don't eat a lot of coconut anymore because coconut is really full of saturated fat, and even though it's a plant, it's saturated fat. And that too, I'll eat depending on what recent days have been. Maybe one day, for some reason I like to put a little almond butter in my ice cream, and I put a couple of tablespoons of almond butter. Or maybe another day I use something that's got a little bit more fat in it. Then the next day, maybe I don't use any overt fat. Maybe I don't use any overt fat for a couple of days. But I kind of try to keep it in the lower range. I don't know if I'm there at 10% all the time, but I would say maybe 10 to 15%, whatever. And I don't know, another category, it's not really food. I wouldn't say this is a part of the plant-based diet, but just part of my practice is hydration. I'm not a natural water drinker. I know we get a lot through the food we're eating. That's why I like the juicier fruits, and I like those greens, and I like the lettuce and stuff. But still going to have to drink for hydration. And sometimes I feel like I'm just drinking all day long to stay hydrated. But hydration's a big part of that. So anyhow, like I say, just keeping it very simple. This is what I do. Not trying to talk anybody into anything. Just kind of sharing my experience along the way. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And we'll see you here again in a day or so. Peace.